In Headlong Hunt, you play as a scientist that's out to capture a creature, but the only way how you can do that is to scare it into a cage. And whilst no animals were harmed in the making of this game, my brain hurt an awful lot and was harmed whilst playing it. This is a tricky Sokoban style puzzle game, but I would call it part Sokoban, part slider puzzle. And the reason for this is that you have to scare the creature to get it to move. And the only way how you can do that is to dive into its line of sight. Now the creature can see in the 4 compass directions, up, down, left, right, north, south, east, west. But when it spots you, it bolts until it hits something in the opposite direction. And that's what I mean by like it being slightly slider puzzly-ish. Because if you trigger the wrong move, it bolts in a direction until it flies off the map. And then it's game over because the animal creature has escaped. So then you have to use the undo or restart feature to then kind of pull back your moves and try again. And this is the crux of the game. I found Headlong Hunt to be really tricky but quite fair because the dynamics of the game never switch up. It introduces new environmental like triggers or hazards for you to think about and consider, but it's always use the line of sight to scare the absolute cack out of the creature so that it then runs in the opposite direction and hits something so that you can kind of like slide a puzzle blonk it into the space that you need to at the end. With that in mind, because you always have to get the animal to stop underneath the trap to capture it, I found it easier to reverse engineer every level because I could know the direction of travel from where the last move was. And that helped me kind of reverse around and try and go, okay, so if I'm coming in from that direction, then I have to be over here. So how do I get the animal there? So on and so forth. And so that was how I solved the levels. This might be incredibly Essex blonde of me, but that's just how my brain worked. There are 3 different types of worlds or levels that are in Headlong Hunt. One involves kind of bouncing off of scenery, which was quite cool. The second one involved long grass, and the idea with this is that whenever the creature hits long grass, it stops. So it's as if you're putting in waypoints, and then it doesn't get scared until you stand next to it. So you have to kind of control exactly at what point you're going to reach out to the creature and stand next to it to scare it, and from what direction. The other thing, though, is that you can then walk behind the long grass and it covers your line of sight. Or you might need to walk through long grass and then it collapses afterwards, therefore not creating a barrier, as it might be that you don't actually want the creature to stop there. You need it to carry on to reach a different destination. And I found those grass levels to be incredibly satisfying when I got right. The third area is an ice area, and this is around pushing blocks around, but you can also push some of them into water. And what that then does is create additional stepping stone points to slightly change the map. And I found the ice levels to be some of the most difficult ones that are in the game, because you're having to kind of pre-map out and pre-plan what you're going to do with each move to create the spaces to get to where you need to scare the creature. Then the fourth world combines all 3. And that was where my brain just absolutely derped. And what I really liked about Headlong Hunt was that whenever you complete a level, it unlocks a couple more for you to choose from, so that you don't get stuck into, I can only do this one level, I'm stuck. Actually, what you can do is then go, right, stuck here, let me try something else and go back to you. And I also like the fact that there is like a main run of levels through the overworld, and you can branch off into little clusters elsewhere too, but some of them are actually quite optional if you don't want to, or if you get stuck, you can still continue unlocking other ones through the main world. I found this game addictive, tricky, challenging, but very satisfying. It might not be tons and tons of fun to look at. I don't mind the styling of here, but it is quite muted. It's the actual puzzles that are really well put together here, and it will shine when you get in to play it. So yeah, this is a definite recommendation from me. Just make sure you've had breakfast before you attack this game, because you'll need all the brain stamina you can get. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.